Lest we forget the American dream.
Hey, Sheriff, the dogs are bearing to the left. They must have picked up some kind of scent.
You can't tell, Sam. Might be nothing more than a jackrabbit.
Listen to them. Hound dogs don't sound like that when they're chasing rabbits.
Yeah, they got something, either treed or cornered.
Like as not, it's the murdering hombre we're after. Think so, Sheriff?
Maybe. We'll soon find out. All right, boys. Keep your guns handy. Let's close in.
Lest we forget the American dream. This is another in a series of programs dedicated to you, to me, to all Americans, and the kind of America we want to live in.
The story of Sheriff Matt Blake, starring Ralph Bellamy.
You're at the head of an armed posse. 5 men carrying rifles and guns. Ahead of you is a pack of snarling bloodhounds, especially trained to track down game, human game. This kind of hunting isn't new to you. You've done it before, but this is the first time the quarry has been a frightened, exhausted boy whose dark eyes hold more bewilderment than fear.
Hey, say, what's the idea?
I'll ask the questions. You answer them. Follow the dog, Sam.
You. Better watch him, Sheriff. He's kind of generally packing a hideout.
Walk over this way. Keep both hands in the air.
What? If you're the sheriff, you've made a mistake. I haven't done anything.
Listen to him. You made the mistake, Buster, when you croaked old man Parrish this morning.
Croaked?
Murder's another name for it. You're under arrest.
Murder? I haven't murdered
Save
anybody.
your
I don't know
breath.
what...
There'll be plenty of time to talk later. Here's my office. Go on in.
Sheriff,
Just a
I
minute.
haven't...
You look peaceable enough, but I better play it safe. Stand here by the water pipe.
What are you going to do?
Nothing much. Just slip the cuffs around the water pipe. There. That ought to hold you in one place.
What I'd like to know is
Suppose
why.
you tell me where you hid the money and the gun.
I tell you, I don't know anything about any murder or money.
What's your name?
Jose Gonzalez. I live in San Diego. I left there about 7 years ago to go to New York. I was an actor on the stage, and then I was in the Army for the past 4 years. And I got an honorable discharge.
Gonzalez. 22. Kind of young to have been play acting 4 years ago.
Well, I used to play kid parts.
All right. But how about the murder? A stranger answering your description was seen near old Joe Parrish's shack early this morning.
I had nothing to do with it, I tell you. When I got out of the Army at Fort Dix, I bought a used car and was driving the southern route to the West Coast.
Yeah?
I ran out of gas about an hour ago, so I started to walk down the highway to find a filling station.
Why did you break and run when my men and I ordered you to halt?
Because I didn't know what it was all about, and the odds were against me, 6-1.
You might be telling the truth.
I am telling the truth, but what good does it do? I still end up accused of murder in a Tanktown jail like this.
Simmer down, son. My deputy will be back pretty soon. Then we'll drive you to a real jail over at the county seat. And if you're innocent, you'll have a chance to prove it.
I doubt it. I just realized what's happening. I've been away from this part of the country for so long, I'd almost forgotten
What do you mean?
that I'm a Mexican. And that's another way of saying 2 strikes against me as far as white men are concerned.
Not necessarily.
How do you know what it means? I left home when I was a kid, but I remember plenty. I remember the way my mother and father were treated. I remember the names the other kids used to call me, the dump we had to
That
live
was
in.
then. This is now.
Sure, but the people haven't changed. They'll never change. Can I expect the same kind of justice any other man would get?
No reason why not.
But can I? That's what I want to know. Can I?
You have no reply to your prisoner's question this time. Instead of answering him, you turn your back and stare out the window. Maybe that's because you want to avoid those bitter eyes that might mean either innocence or guilt. You look across the sun-baked street of Border Town. It hasn't changed much in 30 years. except for supermarkets and a chain drugstore where the old livery stable used to be. Your father was the sheriff then. You were just a kid, 10 or 11 years old. You remember a certain summer afternoon.
Hey, Ma, Pa, you know what I saw just this side of South Creek in that clearing near the cottonwoods?
No, what, dear?
I saw a big bunch of men, almost everybody from here in town.
Oh, John, he must have seen
Just a minute, dear.
They had Jeb Pruitt, the horse thief you arrested yesterday. They hung him, Pa.
Oh, no.
He kept screaming and yelling, but nobody paid him no mind.
Oh.
They made him stand on the back of a wagon while they put a rope around his neck. And then the wagon drove off, and Jeb just hung there.
Stop it. I won't listen to another word.
I'm sorry, Ma. But how did Jeb Pruitt get out of jail? You had him locked up, didn't you, Pa?
They forced your father to release his prisoner, Matthew. Forced him with guns.
Gee, how could they do that, Pa? I thought you being sheriff made you stronger than everybody else put together.
Huh? Just legally stronger, son. But not when the people take the law into their own hands. Oh, honey, I should have used my gun to stand off that mob.
You wouldn't have had a chance, John. It would only have meant more bloodshed and killing.
Well, wasn't Jeb Pruitt a horse thief, Pa?
I don't know. Nothing's been proved. That's the worst part of the whole thing, and I failed to prevent it.
Oh, now, John, that isn't true. You did everything you could. I only wish Matthew hadn't actually seen
Well,
it.
I'm glad he did. I'm glad. I want you to remember it, son, as long as you live.
Remember what, Pa? You mean how Jeb Pruitt was hung?
No. I want you to remember the lynch-crazy look in the eyes of every man who was in that mob. Remember that they murdered a man in cold blood instead of his getting a fair trial.
Yes, Pa.
Remember that it happened in America today, and it can happen again tomorrow, or any other time that people forget what this country is about and what it stands for.
Well, I don't understand.
Son, being an American is an idea more than anything else. And it's only as strong as the people who believe in it and respect it. The main part of the idea is this. Every man is entitled to equal rights just because he is a man. And if he's charged with a crime, guilty or innocent, he's entitled to equal justice under the law.
But, you say to yourself, all that happened a long time ago. It has no connection with a murder case today. Or has it? Sheriff Blake speaking. Oh, hello, Sam. I thought you were bringing the car around so we can drive to the county seat with the prisoner. Oh, is that so? I'm sorry to hear it. Thanks for the tip-off, Sam.
What was that?
My deputy on the phone. He called to warn me a crowd's been gathering. It's heading his way.
Crowd? What do you mean?
Well, you see, old Joe Parrish, the man who was robbed and murdered this morning, was pretty well liked here in town. I guess some of the folks are sort of riled up. And you being a Mexican...
You mean a mob? A lynch mob? It is a mob. I can hear them coming. Listen.
Yep. Kind of sounds that way.
Stop stalling, Sheriff. I know what they're after. They want me.
I'll try to talk to them, son. Maybe they'll listen to reason.
I'm innocent. I swear I'm innocent. I haven't killed anybody. I never even heard the man that you say I killed.
I didn't say you were guilty.
But they'll hang me just because I'm a Mexican and can't prove that I'm
Not
innocent.
if I can help it.
What can you do now?
I don't know. You still swear you didn't kill Joe Parrish?
As God is my judge, I did.
Just an unlucky ex-soldier who used to be an actor, is that right?
It's the truth, every word of it.
Open up, Sheriff!
Sheriff.
First, I better make sure this gun is loaded. Got some shells right here on the desk.
Hey, Sheriff, open up!
We're in a tough spot, kid, both of us. I'll do what I can. All right, gents. What do you want?
As if you didn't know. We want that murdering Mexican you got in there.
Yes, we do. If you mean the boy I arrested this afternoon, he's my prisoner and he's in my custody.
I heard you was taking him over to the county seat for a trial. We'll save you the trouble, Sheriff. Yeah. We got a hemp necktie here that'll just fit that Mexican yahoo.
Just a minute. There'll be no lynching party. The boy's entitled to a fair trial. He's going to get it.
Trial for a Mexican that murdered Joe Parrish?
For an American. We don't know whether he murdered Joe Parrish or not.
Listen, Blake. Either you hand over that armory or we'll come in and take him.
Oh, no, you won't. This 45 is loaded, and all of you know I can use it.
You mean you shoot down your friends and neighbors just on account of a murder in Mexico?
I'll shoot to uphold the law.
I'm going to count 3, Matt Blake. Either you hand them over before I finish, or we're coming in. 1, 2...
All right. There's 50 of you against me. But if I can't save this boy's life, at least I can save him from the kind of torture you lynch-crazy galoots are figuring on.
Oh. Sheriff, you killed him.
Isn't that what you wanted?
Sheriff Blake! Sheriff!
What is it, Sam?
Just came from the telegraph office. There's a message. The man who killed Joe Parrish was captured in the next county.
Huh?
He was an escaped convict. He's confessed everything, the robbery and the killing.
Just a minute. Simmer down, everybody. That's good news, Sam. And I'm sure all of these men who wanted to murder an innocent suspect a few minutes ago are glad to hear it.
Gosh, Sheriff, we didn't think but...
That's the trouble. A lynch mob like this never thinks. That's why it's a mob. Now go home, all of you. And thank God you haven't the blood of an innocent man in your hands.
What are you going to do now, Matt? I mean about that kid there on the floor.
I don't know, Sam. That's something I haven't figured yet. You follow that crowd of our best citizens. See that they don't cause any more trouble.
Don't worry, Sheriff. I'll keep them in line.
Good. All right, kid, you can get up now.
I don't know how to thank you, Sheriff Blake. You saved
Stand
my
still
life.
till I unlock these handcuffs.
Yes.
There.
I didn't realize what you were going to do until just a few seconds ago.
At least you proved one thing. You're a good actor. That was mighty fine play acting. You couldn't have died more real if I'd been using lead in this gun instead of blanks.
I still can't understand it. How did you know I was really innocent? What made you so sure?
I didn't know. And I wasn't sure.
Then why did you save my life?
I'll tell you, son. First, because guilty or innocent, you're entitled to a fair trial. That's the law. That's what it says, and I'm here to enforce the law. Second, well, I'm not much on speech-making, but...
But what?
I don't rightly know if I can put it into words the way I feel. It goes way back. I guess as far back as the Constitution. America isn't just a country or a nation, it's an idea. An idea that started with these words: all men are created equal. And that means all men, regardless of what they think, what church they go to, or the color of their skin. It means everybody has to live together and understand together to make the idea work. And it can't work if a man is denied his rights as a man, as an American, because of his race or his religion or the color of his skin.
The Institute for Democratic Education has brought you another in its series, Lest We Forget the American Dream. Today's story starred Ralph Bellamy. Listen in again next week for another in this series of programs dedicated to you, to me, to all Americans and the kind of America we want to live in. Not tomorrow, but today.